996 now.
The views expressed on the following program do not necessarily reflect the views of Money Radio staff, management, or advertisers, and do not represent an offer to buy or sell any securities. Some interviews heard on this program may be sponsored by the participants. It's time for Health Futures with Cypress HomeCare Solutions, Bob Roth. This is Arizona's only show dedicated to providing you with expert advice on how to live a longer, healthier, and happier life. To learn more, call 602-264-8009. That's 602-264-8009. Now, here's your host, Bob Roth.
Good afternoon. You're listening to Health Futures, Taking Stock in You. I'm your host, Bob Roth, and it must be Friday. And indeed it is. We're zipping through the month of October. It's hard to believe it is October 18th, and we are in the throes of the fall season here in Arizona. And if you are living here, we, I think, just said goodbye to the 90s. I'm hoping we did, and we're not talking about the decade. We're talking about the temperature. It's very delightful out, and this is why many of us Phoenicians, Arizonans, live here, because the weather this time of year is spectacular. So if this is the first time you've tuned into this show, our show is about how our older adult population can live a healthier, happier life. And how do we do this? We do this by bringing an extraordinary guest to the show. And today is no different. Being that it is the middle of October, I believe it was October 15th, was open enrollment for Medicare. So I brought one of the experts here into the studio, and I brought in a gentleman by the name of Mark Iorio, and he is the Central West Region Medicare President for Humana. And for those that don't know, Humana is a rather large healthcare carrier, and we are here to talk about Medicare Advantage. And welcome to the show, Mark.
Thank you. I couldn't be happier. Thank you so much for having me, and I'm looking forward to our conversation today. So thank you, Bob.
Well, it's really good to have you on, because this is really a critical time of year for our older adult population. For those that are 65 and older, and I believe you can be 64 right now, and you have to turn 65 by, January 1 to be a part of this open enrollment. You know, help me through the age determination.
You need to be 65 effective 1/1 January.
20.
20.
But if you're 65 before 1/1/20, you need to be actively understanding what Medicare is all about and what this whole open enrollment process is.
Absolutely. Well, Medicare gives you actually 7 months. So if you're someone who's aging into the Medicare age, which is 65 years old, you actually have 7 months. You can enroll actually the 3 months prior to turning 65, although your Medicare wouldn't be effective until the first month of when you turn 65.
Perfect. And for those that don't know it, it's an incredible benefit that we have for many of us citizens here in this country, and I'm not of Medicare age yet, and I'm hoping that it's going to be there for me, as many of our listeners may hope the same. But it is a great program that's available, and this is a great time of year to be talking about it. So not only are we talking about Medicare Advantage, but we're also talking about prescription drug plans as well.
That's right. Yeah, because original Medicare actually doesn't cover prescription drugs, medications, but it does. You are able to actually sign up for a prescription drug plan, a standalone plan, and you can couple that with original Medicare if you get an original Medicare card. So you have several options as a Medicare eligible person. You can have original Medicare is one option, is to just sign up with a Medicare program and then consider how you want to handle prescription drugs. You also have the option of signing up for Medicare Advantage, and hopefully we're going to talk about Medicare Advantage more today. You can have a Medicare supplement plan, so you have several options as a Medicare eligible person.
So, before we do a deeper dive into this, there are Plan A, Plan B, Plan C, D. I mean, to me, I haven't really done that deep dive. It's really confusing. So can you walk us through what the differences are?
Sure. So Medicare has various parts, and that's kind of the way the legislation was set up. But Part A is actually hospital care, hospital coverage. That's provided by the federal government. Medicare Part B is medical coverage, so that means physician services, outpatient facilities, other kinds of medical services that you might need. And then they have what's called Part D, which is prescription drugs, any kind of prescription medication. And so those are the three parts, and those are the three main parts. And then, of course, there's Part C, and Part C refers to Medicare Advantage plans. And Medicare Advantage plans are actually plans that are provided by private health benefits companies, the ones that most people know about.
Like Humana.
Like Humana.
Right.
And it's really a all-in-one solution to Medicare. That's the wonderful thing about Medicare Advantage is that the typical Medicare Advantage plan covers both medical benefits as well as hospital as well as prescription drugs. And so that's the kind of advantage when we talk about Medicare Advantage, is that it's really an all-in-one solution, and it's something that people should absolutely consider if they become of Medicare age.
And we're going to talk more about Medicare Advantage and a lot of other things relating to Humana and the offerings that you have for the older adult population. Obviously, I'm not an expert, so I'm very confused. And I would imagine that you have an incredible support center to be able to help people navigate to the best solution to them, because what's right for me may not be right for you, and it may not be right for this person over here. So I'm assuming that you have this staff, this team that can help explain these things.
We absolutely do. We have and we use we have a wholesales team that's responsible for educating folks around what their options are around Medicare Advantage and the Medicare Advantage plans that we provide, and enroll folks in. They will walk you through the entire process of what is required. It's a very personal process because healthcare is personal. Mm-hmm. And so there's many things to consider, but they have lots of information they can provide. They'll leave you with information. They will actually meet you on, they can meet you in the office, that you can come and see these folks, or they'll come right to your home. And a lot of these discussions are kitchen table conversations, frankly.
Sure. Right?
It's over the kitchen table. Let's talk about what your needs are, and let's see how we can find the very best plan for you that meets your needs.
So as we wind down this first segment, and I got to tell you, Mark, it goes really fast. I got about a minute right now. The key differences between Medicare Advantage and the original Medicare is we mentioned all the different parts for Medicare. In Medicare Advantage, you basically have a one-shop all, right?
That's right.
Okay.
You're buying a package of healthcare benefits that includes everything that original Medicare includes, and then some additional coverages that you would want to have, that
right.
most people would want to have. So.
And at some point today in our conversation, I will talk a little bit about the CMS letter that came out in 2018, talking about all these other benefits that were going to be packaged in with Medicare Advantage. And, for me, it's exciting for us that are in the home care support side. So we're done one segment. We got 3 more to go. You've been listening to Health Futures, Taking Stock in You. I've got Humana here in the house. I got Mark Iorio. Stick around. We got 3 more segments. We'll be right back.
Are you sick and tired of hearing, don't buy an annuity until you've spoken to the so-called experts? If so, call 800-957-5604, extension 200, to learn the concept of a principal-protected, low-cost, new generation annuity and the various options. Listen to Secured Financial Solutions every Monday and Thursday at 1 p.m. on this station to prevent a derailed retirement and from purchasing the wrong annuity, especially the high-risk, high-fee variable annuity and complex proprietary index annuities. Secured Financial Financial Solutions will help you understand the difference between true stated guarantees and non-guaranteed returns. Call 800-957-5604, extension 200, and visit dreamretire.com.
Investment advisory services offered through Virtue Capital Management, LLC, VCM, and Registered Investment Advisor. VCM and Secured Financial Solutions, LLC are independent of each other. Annuities are insurance products, backed by the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the insuring insurance company. Information provided is not intended as tax or legal advice and should not be relied on as such. You are encouraged to seek tax or legal advice from an independent professional.
For all the outdoor projects in your to-do list this fall, start with Lowe's, because Lowe's has everything you need to get things done right and at the right prices. Stop in today and save $40 on a Cobalt 24-volt leaf blower, now $99. No gas or oil required. Just pop in the battery and go. And refresh your deck with Valspar semi-transparent one-coat stain and sealer starting at just $36.98 a gallon. Remember, the sooner you get your projects done, the faster you can get out and enjoy the fall weather. Do it right for less. Start with Lowe's. Offer valid through 10/23 U.S. only.
The following update is for drivers who pay too much for car insurance due to DUIs, DWIs, tickets, or anything else. Our company specializes in low-cost SR22 auto insurance. We know that mistakes happen and offer free quotes for very affordable auto insurance meant specifically for you, the overpaying high-risk driver. The quote is free, and we'll handle the filing so you can start saving money. Call 800-749-2984, 800-749-2984, 800-749-2984.
Dell Small Business Technology Advisors can recommend tailored security solutions, including computers with Intel Core processors, servers, storage, and more. Call an advisor today, 877-BY-DELL.
Now back to Health Futures, taking stock in you. If you have questions about your own or your loved one's future health care, call 602-264-8009. Now, here's your host, Cypress HomeCare Solutions, Bob Roth.
Welcome back. You're listening to Health Futures, Taking Stock in You. I'm your host, Bob Roth, and if you're just tuning in, we're on our second segment. We've got Humana here in the house. We're talking Medicare Advantage insurance carrier, a Medicare Advantage insurance carrier. We're talking about open enrollment. Open enrollment started October 15th, and it runs from October 15th to when?
December 7th.
December 7th. And I've got Mark Iorio. He is the Central Western Region Medicare President for Medicare Senior Products for Humana. And we've already jumped into the first segment, and if you missed that, you need to go check it out on our website. Go to cypresshomecare.com. Go to the media button, drop down to the third button. From there, you'll catch this radio show and about 300 others that we've been bringing to you for the last 6 years. So, Mark, I'd love for our listening audience to know a little bit more about you. I know you're a regional president with them. Tell me a little bit about your background, where you're from, and how'd you get into this space?
Yeah, sure. Well, before I came out west, I actually grew up on the East Coast, grew up on Eastern Long Island, and did my undergraduate and graduate work in upstate New York, and came out to the West, moved to Colorado back in the mid-'90s, and worked for large multi-specialty groups. So worked for physician offices. I understand what it means to be in a physician office and how to run those offices. Did that for almost 20 years. And then I actually joined Kaiser Permanente on the health plan side, because I really wanted to close the gap between providers and health benefits or health insurance companies. I felt like they needed to work more closely together so that people could have a better experience in our healthcare system. And did that for 5 years as a vice president for Kaiser in Colorado, and then came to Humana about 7.5 years ago. And they asked me to lead the region, and so Colorado, New Mexico, and Arizona are the areas that I'm responsible for Humana.
Fantastic. You still live in Colorado?
No, I actually moved here to Phoenix, to the Phoenix area.
Nice.
To Scottsdale, and just absolutely love it here. Love the weather, love the people. It's just a wonderful place to live.
Well, welcome here.
Thank you.
We love having you here. You're helping our economy, so thank you for being here. So we talked about open enrollment, and this is really important for those that are Medicare eligible to know that between October 15th and December 7th is when you need to make your selections. So I would like to ask, Mark, what should people consider when they select a Medicare plan?
Well, you want to consider a few very important things. The first thing is probably what have your healthcare expenses been for the last year or so? because if you know how much you're spending on health care, that'll help you pick the right plan for you. So I always tell people, first thing is take some stock, figure out what it is you've been paying for health care. If you're in original Medicare, you're getting these bills for 20% of what the costs are and so on. And that's one of the great things about Medicare Advantage is that it gives you a fixed copay for medical services, medical benefits. Whether you're in the hospital, they're fixed amounts. You have a maximum out of pocket. These are things you don't typically have with original Medicare. So think about that. Also think about the drugs or medications, prescription drugs you might be on from your physicians. And then you'll want to check the formularies on Medicare Advantage plans, make sure those things are covered on your new plan, whatever plan you choose. And then also, of course, you want to think about the providers that you're seeing. Who are your physicians? What health systems do you like to go to? Are they in network for your Medicare Advantage plan? Because what you don't want to do is disrupt your whole healthcare experience, right? You want to try to have as much consistency as possible, but you also want to get as much covered as possible financially.
So you could actually be on Medicare and have a physician and go over to Medicare Advantage, and that physician may not be on that plan?
Could happen.
Wow, I would never think that.
Well, yeah, because the Medicare Advantage plans have defined networks, and so you want to make sure that your physicians, if you like your physician, obviously,
right,
you want to keep them, right? So if you're picking a plan, you want to make sure your physician is in network. It'll be the least disruptive for you.
So we've covered a lot, and one of my questions is, and you talked about prescriptions. And, being in the home care space, in the healthcare continuum, I just see prescription prices just going through the roof. And I unfortunately see a lot of older adults making the decision, do I pay my rent or lease, or do I get my meds? Do I buy food, or do I get my meds? Tell me a little bit about, what plans, what they cover in terms of prescription drugs.
Well, most prescription drugs are typically covered on a formulary on Medicare Advantage, and that's why you want to make sure you have a good list of the medications that you're on. Particularly if you're on chronic medications, there are ways to manage the costs by, for example, we have plans that have, I think on almost all of our plans, we have 90-day prescription availability. If you do 90 days and you get yourself on a mail order arrangement with Humana, you can actually save quite a bit of money. The great thing about formularies in Medicare Advantage plans is you have defined copays, because medications are tiered. So if your medication is, for example, available in a generic, you're typically on tier 1. Sometimes you'll have no copay, or maybe a very nominal copay of a couple of dollars. Tier 2 might be another few dollars more. Tier 3, same thing. So you want to make sure you know where your drugs fit into the formulary of the plan you're buying.
No, that's really important. And it's really knowing, what drugs, like you said, are on the formula of the plan you're buying, but also knowing, are there generics that could be used instead of the prescription, the brand?
Very, very important. And if you're getting a prescription from your physician, it should be one of the very first questions you ask is this available in a generic?
Right.
Because if it's not, it could be very expensive, and you want to know what those costs are so you can plan for those.
And what other options there might be.
Yeah,
and
that's
so
right.
That drug, is there another drug that I can take that can maybe not do exactly the same thing, but also be able to help my situation or remedy the issue that I'm dealing with? So, question for you is, are there plans that have zero premiums?
There are many plans, and I always tell people those are the first plans, frankly, you should look at, because the less you can take out of pocket every month to pay for a premium for a plan, the better, right? Original Medicare doesn't have a premium for Part A, for example, and for Part B, you actually do pay a premium out of your Social Security check. Most people don't realize that or don't see that, but you are paying that every month. And that helps cover the cost of Medicare Advantage as well. But $0 premium plans are the first place to go, because to be able to get a plan that covers additional things beyond what your original Medicare card will cover is where you want to land if you possibly can. And if you can't, there are other plans that have some nominal premiums, every month that you could pay. Might give you a little bit more value, but honestly, the $0 plans and the way the market has developed, there are many good $0 plans to choose from. Humana has many $0 plans that are available.
Yeah, and we talked about it before. If you have any questions, you can connect with one of your associates to be able to walk you through the options.
Absolutely right.
And if you're listening in, you should be asking very first, is there any zero premium plans that I should be looking at?
That's right. And then they will show you all of the benefits available under those plans, and you can choose the plan that's right for you.
So are there any other nuances that we should be noting?
The other thing I think I always tell people is very important to look and see what other benefits beyond the medical benefits, beyond the things that original Medicare covers, and even beyond the maximum out of pockets and the copays that are required under your plan. Look for things that are additional, because many Medicare Advantage plans that Humana sells have dental coverage. Dental coverage is very important. Vision coverage.
Absolutely.
Hearing coverage as well for hearing devices and hearing testing. So these are things you want to look at. But there are also additional things. Like now we've added telemedicine, for example, to our plans, where you can actually see a doctor through a telemedicine program that will make available to you. You can see him talk to your physician on your telephone or on your computer screen. And you can actually have a face-to-face visit with someone that way. Those are becoming very popular, and they're part of the plan. We also have plans that have transportation coverage, up to 24 trips per year, for example. So that's going to the doctor once a month and getting transportation covered. So there are various things you need to look at, and lots of things that are available beyond what original Medicare would cover.
It's nice to hear about transportation, because as we look at our older adult population, that is one of the biggest challenges many of them are dealing with. And whether it be because they lose the inability or the ability to drive, and they have a hard time, especially here in Arizona. I mean, we're such a sprawling city, and
right.
Especially here in Phoenix, specifically Maricopa County, it's 9,228 square miles, 68 miles from one point to the next. It's hard to get from point A to point B, so nice to know that you have that benefit.
Absolutely.
As we wind down our second segment, we're going to tee up the third segment and really talk about aging into Medicare. And what I got to tell you, Mark, we are aging at such a rapid rate. And I tell our listeners all the time, I mean, when you look at the 80-year-old population between 2016 and 2030, it is doubling here in our country. Yeah. Doubling. And the highest growing demographic age group is the 90-plus. So, we have a lot of people that are turning 65 every day. We heard the number 10,000. Latest I've heard is 11,000 now. Right. So 11,000. So we have a lot of people that are aging into Medicare. So I want to tee up our third segment, because I want our listeners to stick around, because I want to talk about how do we do this, and how do we do this successfully, and how do we make sure that we have Americans out there that are getting healthcare coverage that need it, because there are so many there that are out there we don't even have track of them, and we need to get them engaged, we need to get them signed up, and we need to get them coverage.
Absolutely.
Well, you've been listening to Health Futures, Taking Stock in You, and this is a really important broadcast talking about open enrollment for Medicare. And I'm pleased to have Mark Iorio from Humana here in the studio. So when we come back, we're going to talk about aging into Medicare, and we're going to also talk about things you may not know about Humana. We're halftime here at Health Futures. Stick around. We'll be right back.
As we reach the bottom of the hour, we pause for a look at the world's news. Then we're back with Money Talk. We're Money Radio 1510 AM and 105.3 FM.
High above the earth.
Great to be back home.
Home, in this case, the International Space Station, where astronauts Christina Koch and Jessica Meir are back inside after the first all-female spacewalk, a lengthy effort to fix part of the space station's power grid. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo says the Trump administration has been told European countries will help resolve concerns over ISIS lockups that were guarded by Kurdish allies before the U.S. pulled out of Syria.
The risk remains that these camps won't continue forever,
And I hope that they will take seriously what we view as their obligation to take these people back to their countries.
President Trump says Turkey's president assured him that a ceasefire brokered by the U.S. has not already broken down. The first bands of Tropical Storm Nestor are already flinging some wind and rain at the Gulf Coast. The newly minted storm is expected to make landfall in the Florida Panhandle around daybreak tomorrow. I'm Jan Johnson.
If you're drowning in IRS debt and can't afford to pay, then you need to take advantage of special IRS tax programs that are available and free yourself from IRS collection efforts once and for all. Due to the financial hardship consumers are facing throughout the country, the Internal Revenue Service has made it easier to settle delinquent tax problems. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Take down this number or store it in your cell phone, but call the Community Tax Helpline at 800-251-9531. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back, or even if you have years of unfiled tax returns, there's no need to fear anymore. But you have to call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-251-9531 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pension, home, and even your Social Security check. Call 800-251-9531 for your free consultation and to see if you qualify. That's 800-251-9531.
If you can get a signal on your smartphone, then you can listen live to Money Radio. Download our app for free and never miss a moment of the great advice.
Are you sick and tired of hearing, don't buy an annuity until you've spoken to the so-called experts? If so, call 800-957-5604, extension 200, to learn the concept of a principal-protected, low-cost, new generation annuity and the various options. Listen to Secured Financial Solutions every Monday and Thursday at 1 p.m. on this station to prevent a derailed retirement and from purchasing the wrong annuity, especially the high-risk, high-fee variable annuity and complex proprietary index annuities. Secured Financial Solutions will help you understand the difference between true stated guarantees and non-guaranteed returns. Call 800-957-5604, extension 200, and visit dreamretire.com.
Investment advisory services offered through Virtue Capital Management, LLC, VCM, and Registered Investment Advisor. VCM and Secured Financial Solutions, LLC are independent of each other. Annuities are insurance products, backed by the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the insuring insurance company. Information provided is not intended as tax or legal advice and should not be relied on as such. You are encouraged to seek tax or legal advice from an independent professional.
Hi there, saver. Looking for a Medicare plan to help you save on more than just prescriptions? Medicare Advantage plans may offer prescription drug, medical, and hospital coverage. Walgreens is a preferred network pharmacy with many Medicare Advantage plans, including United Healthcare. So, when you enroll in a plan with Walgreens as your preferred pharmacy, you know you're saving smartly. Walgreens, trusted since 1901. Other plans may be accepted.
Would you know what to do if you encounter a wrong-way driver? Let's hope you never find out. But if you ever do see a wrong-way driver coming at you, slow down, safely steer away, and get off the roadway. At night, drive defensively and be aware of what's ahead and around you. And if you see a sign warning of a wrong-way driver, safely move toward and take the next freeway exit on the right. Drive aware. Get there. Sponsored by the Arizona Department of Transportation in partnership with the Arizona Broadcasters Association and this station.
Dell Small Business Technology Advisors can recommend tailored security solutions, including computers with Intel Core processors, servers, storage, and more. Call an advisor today, 877-BY-DELL.
I'm Jim Chesko with Your Money Now. Stocks are in the red here in the session's final hour. The Dow Industrial's down 170 points. The NASDAQ has dropped 44. The S&P 500 down 4 points. Shares of several retailers are tumbling after negative comments and downgrades from analysts at Credit Suisse. Stock of L Brands, the parent company of Victoria's Secret and Bath & Body Works, is sliding 8.5%, while both Gap and Macy's are down about 3.5%. Meanwhile, price target cuts for stock of Netflix by a trio of investment firms has shares of the streaming giant skidding 5.5%. If you have your eyes on Xbox's new Elite 2 controller, you might want to think about having Taco Bell for lunch. Microsoft has partnered with Taco Bell to create a new limited edition Xbox One X console. In order to get your hands on the controller, you'll need to purchase the fast food chain's Double Chalupa box through the restaurant's app, which will score you a code you can use to enter a drawing. If you win, you'll get the $180 controller as well as a console. That's Your Money Now.
I'm Nick Soboleski, a Select Quote agent with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a $300,000 group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and can't take it with him. Well, I shopped the many highly rated term life insurance companies we represent, like Prudential and Mutual of Omaha, and found Ray, who is 41 and takes medication to control his cholesterol, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $27 a month. That's almost twice the coverage for less than half of what he had paid. If SelectQuote hasn't shopped for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 800-507-2266. That's 800-507-2266. 800-507-2266. Or go to SelectQuote.com. Since 1985, we shop, you save.
Get full details on the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Your price could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
Now back to Health Futures, taking stock in you. If you have questions about your own or your loved one's future health care, call 602-264-8009. Now, here's your host, Cypress HomeCare Solutions, Bob Roth.
Welcome back. You're listening to Health Futures, taking stock in you. I'm your host, Bob Roth, and if you're just tuning in, we are in our second segment, and I've got Mark Iorio. He is with Humana. He's the regional president, Central West Region, Medicare Senior Products. And we are talking about Medicare open enrollment, which just started this week. It goes all the way to December 7th. And if you missed the first two segments, I really urge you to go out to our website. Go to CypressHomeCare.com. Go to the third button across the top, media button. Third down is the radio show, and you can catch the first two segments and about 300 others that we've been bringing to you. What truly makes our show is our guests. And Mark, I'm really glad to have you here on the show. And we kind of teed up this third segment really talking about aging into Medicare with 11,000 people turning 65 every day, our 80-year-old population doubling in 14 years from 2016 to 2030. And, we got 15 million Americans living at home right now experiencing some kind of difficulty, activities due to physical, cognitive, developmental, behavioral, and or chronic health concerns. So, making these decisions are so vital and so important. So I want to just ask you this real quick question, and that is it true that people are aging into the Medicare at an alarming rate? Because these numbers are so daunting.
It absolutely is. It's 11,000 people a day aging into Medicare, so that'll give you a sense of the flow and how significant it is. We're going to have, I think, 73 million people on of Medicare age or older. 65 or older by 2030. So we've got a lot of folks who are aging, and it's wonderful that people stay alive longer and live healthier lives as they get older. And the more we can do to make that a reality for them, that's really what we're all about, trying to find ways to keep people healthy so that they can really have their best experience in life. And
you used the word healthy, and I will tell you, I think for me and you, we're the younger generation, if you would. I've always looked at healthcare as sick care. And, I think, most Americans looked at it as that way. And I really think the health plans are starting to change, and they're starting to say, you know what, we need to reward people for taking better care of themselves.
You're absolutely right. And that is a big focus for Humana. And many of the Medicare Advantage plans, frankly, are trying to find ways to do that. I think that we have tried to lead in that area, but we have fitness programs that are part of our health plans. So if you join a health plan, we have a thing called Silver Sneakers, where we're in partnership with health facilities across the geography, and they're available to people to visit as often as they want. We want them to be there as often as they can get there, right? So anything we can do to keep folks healthy in their aging years, the better. And so we're all about trying to find ways to do that.
I love hearing that. And we've had Tivity Health here on our show and really talking about Silver Sneakers. And, it's a benefit that you have out there, and people just need to make that effort.
Yeah, that's absolutely right.
Make the efforts. So if someone is aging into Medicare, what should they really expect?
So what they should expect as they age in is to look for the very best value they can in terms of coverage. They should expect that they're going to get solicited through the mail. They're going to, I'm sure many people are experiencing that already.
I already am.
Right.
I'm 8 years away, and
right.
I'm getting solicited I pick up the mail every day, and there's something in there.
It's never too early to start to be healthy, right? And so we're all aging, and it's very important for us to understand that in these times, during open enrollment, I think is the time where people need to be proactive to find out what their options are. But also, I would encourage people to be careful, because no one is allowed under the CMS rules to be knocking on your door, calling you, cold calling you and asking you about a Medicare Advantage plan. So if that's happening, I would be very wary of that. You have to make the first move as an individual. You have to reach out, get online, understand your options online, call Medicare.gov or call the Medicare line, get on Medicare.gov. It'll show you all the plans that are available. These are things that people should do, but you have to do it proactively. It's not supposed to come to you. You're supposed to actually reach out.
No, that's really important. I mean, there are these resources out there. Like you said, I mean, we use our computers to do a lot of research, and it's nice to know that information's out there. If someone does contact you, do you contact Medicare and report it? I mean...
Oh, certainly. If we know about scam artists that are out there that are doing that, if we hear about that or someone brings it to our attention, we'll report that, of course.
And it's really sad. I mean, I serve on the task force against senior abuse with the Attorney General's office here in our state with Mark Brnovich, and also I serve on the Governor's Advisory Council on Aging and work very closely with the Better Business Bureau and the Adult Protective Services, and I got to tell you, I mean, the scams are through the roof, and all of us are getting these unwanted phone calls on our mobile phones,
right.
And trust me, I've gotten some of those with regard to health plans, Medicare plans. So just be wary of that, and you need to contact them. They are not to contact you. As we get ready, believe it or not, we're winding down the third segment. What are some of the things people should consider when they are aging in and need to select a Medicare plan for the very first time?
Well, as I mentioned, I think the very first thing you should do is consider what your needs are in healthcare. If you're a person who has a chronic condition, for example, then you want to make sure that the plan that you choose has some program around that to assist you through that, and also understands the medications that you need to take, and make sure that the opportunity is for you to have a good value proposition around those medications. One of the things that Humana does is we have multiple chronic condition programs, like if you have diabetes or you have COPD or other lung ailments, things like that. We have special programs around that. We also have case managers, clinical case managers that are trained nurses and physicians that can help you through some of the difficulties that you'll be having if you have those conditions. So very important to make sure your plan is really looking out for you. That's the most important thing.
And I don't think you can emphasize that enough. I mean, you have to make sure your plan is customized for you.
That's right.
And to your point, I mean, the biggest takeaway I want our listeners to get here is that if you're suffering from a chronic condition and you have specific doctors that you're using, you need to make sure your plan fits your needs.
Exactly.
It's hard to believe we're down 3 segments. So, Mark, I want to just give a tease to our listeners. We're going to talk about Humana in this last segment. We're going to talk about things that you should know about Humana. You've been listening to Health Futures, Taking Stock in You. I'm your host, Bob Roth. I got Mark Iorio here in the studio. We'll be right back.
Steve Jurich here. Say, is there anything you've thought about doing differently with your money, but you weren't 100% sure you had all the information you needed? Well, let's fix that. You're personally invited to a special event coming up Saturday morning, October 26th in beautiful Old Town Scottsdale at the Scottsdale Center for the Arts. easy to find with plenty of free parking. This is a purely educational event with no sales pitch and nothing to buy. I'll be there with estate planning attorney Libby Banks, CPA Nick Stefaniak, Medicare specialist Shelley Grandage, and elder law attorney Caleb Lynn. Get your most important money questions answered from top professionals. This is a power-packed event you do not want to miss. Admission is $35 at the door or free if you reserve now. So what you waiting for? Reserve your seats at IQWealthWorkshops.com. That's IQWealthWorkshops.com. Investment advisory services by IQ Wealth Management. See you there. IQWealthWorkshops.com. IQWealthWorkshops.com.
Attention golfers. For a limited time, Omni Golf is offering risk-free 60-day demos of the world's first true nanotechnology-enhanced golf club, the Omni Raiders. Our graphene-enhanced shafts are the biggest evolution since golf changed from wood to titanium heads. These shafts snap back quicker, creating greater distance because the tensile strength is 200 times that of steel. The result is greater distance than graphite and better control than steel, what every golfer wants. To prove it, simply demo our clubs for 60 days and you get to keep our flagship Omni Raider driver at no cost. Whether you keep the clubs or not, call 800-OMNI-150. That's 800-666-4150. We're so confident in our technology that we're betting a free driver on it. No gimmicks. Just play the Omni Raider golf clubs for 60 days. Complete the survey that we'll use at the PGA Merchandise Show, and the driver is yours at no cost. Call 800-666-4150. We're so confident you'll love our clubs, we're willing to bet a free driver on it. Say goodbye to old technology. Get used to Omni, the future of golf. Call 800-OMNI-150. That's 800-666-4150.
Dell Small Business Technology Advisors can recommend tailored security solutions, including computers with Intel Core processors, servers, storage, and more. Call an advisor today, 877-BY-DELL.
Now back to Health Futures, taking stock in you. If you have questions about your own or your loved one's future health care, call 602-264-8009. Now, here's your host, Cypress Home Care Solutions, Bob Roth.
Welcome back. You're listening to Health Futures, taking stock in you. A little lover boy working into the weekend, taking us into our last segment here. If you're just tuning in, I've got Mark Iorio here in the studio. He's with Humana. It is open enrollment time. It started on October 15th. It runs all the way through to December 7th. This is the time where people that are Medicare eligible need to open enroll into the various plans that are out there. And Humana has a number of different plans, and we've been talking about Medicare Advantage. And if you missed the first three segments, I urge you to go up to our website at cypresshomecare.com. Click on the media button. Third button down is the radio show. You can catch this show in its entirety. So, Mark, what are some of the things we should know about Humana?
Well, so a couple of things that I would highlight. Humana is a company that, first and foremost, really believes in health and well-being and creating opportunities for people to have their best health. And also the plans that we offer, we talked about Medicare Advantage quite a bit and the sort of all-in-one package that Medicare Advantage can provide to someone. But in addition to that, we also offer prescription drug plans that people can couple with their original Medicare card if they just don't want to give up that Medicare card for some reason, even though Medicare Advantage covers all the benefits that original Medicare does. And in addition to that, we have plans that, for example, are just hospital medical benefits but don't actually cover prescription drugs. And the reason we have those plans is because some people already have their medications covered some other way. For example, veterans. Veterans often get their prescription drugs through the VA at no cost. And so our plans can cover the other part of it. And what it does is it gives veterans an option to get their medical services either with the VA or with someone in the community or some health system in the community. And so those plans are available. And we actually launched a plan this year that's specifically designed for the needs of medicine of veterans. And they're called Honor Veterans Plans. And they're, I think, a great addition to our suite of plans that we offer. You know, Humana is, for a long time, has been committed to recognizing veterans. In fact, we are a partner in what's called the Vietnam War Commemoration Program, which the President and Congress some years back put together to recognize the service that the men and women in service provided during the Vietnam War. And we do pinning ceremonies for Vietnam veterans across the country, hundreds of them every year. And so we're very proud of our support of our veterans, and it's an area that we feel very, very strongly about. The other thing I would say that I hadn't mentioned today, which I should, is a benefit we call Well Dine, which provides meals for people after they've been discharged from the hospital. Everyone knows that when you come out of a hospital, the last thing you feel like doing is getting around and cooking, right? Most of us would just want to recoup. And so Well Dine is a benefit under our Medicare Advantage plans that provides hot, delicious meals for people who come out of the hospital. It's a wonderful program that we've been proud to offer for quite some time. So I already mentioned some of the other benefits, but I think that it's also important to know Humana does offer Medicare supplement plans. Medicare supplement plans are plans that cover all the costs that Medicare doesn't cover. So things like copays and other member responsibilities or patient responsibility costs. The challenge with Medicare supplements, and they are good for some people, but you have to be underwritten. So as where with Medicare Advantage, you don't. So obviously if you have pre-existing conditions and so on, those might be counted into your premium. They tend to be more expensive, and it can be sometimes a little bit pricey for folks, but those are available for people who have the resources and want to get just a complete blanket coverage on everything. But frankly, for most people, Medicare Advantage plans offer a very, very good value for literally no premium every month. And there's really, I can't think of a reason why someone would pass an opportunity up like that.
No, I couldn't agree with you more. And, as I shared at the very top of the hour when we first got started, there was an announcement that came out from CMS, and that came out on April 27, 2018, about offering all these ancillary services. And, for me, I was personally moved very positively seeing that CMS recognizes the fact that in-home support services was something that they saw as a benefit to Medicare-eligible patients. So for me, I know it's a little slow to go, and I know that I put you somewhat on the spot, and I know that Humana may not have gotten there yet. Only 3% of the Medicare Advantage plans took advantage of it in 2019. But you talked about transportation, adult daycare services. There's the fitness benefits, silver sneakers, all of the things that can be bolted on as ways for people to age successfully. And I know that a lot of people think that can be an oxymoron, aging successfully, because we all deal with deficits, but age as best we can. And that's really the ultimate, that's the ultimate goal for all of us. I guess, what I wanted to ask you as we close down our segment is, what is new for MAs in Humana for 2020 and going forward?
Sure. Well, I mentioned the Veterans Honor Plan that we put out this year for 2020. We do have, and one other thing I just realized I never mentioned is our over-the-counter benefit. So we have $75 every 3 months that people can spend. We all go to Walgreens and CVS, right, and spend a fair amount of dollars there. And the older we get, it seems, the more often we're in those stores. And our OTC benefit is a wonderful benefit for people who have things to buy that are over the counter. That's what OTC stands for, over the counter. And there is a long, long list of things you can buy in those stores or in any pharmacy that we all want. And you have basically, it's a $75. It's almost like a gift card. It's not a gift card quite, but that's really kind of the way it works. And
that stuff is expensive.
Absolutely.
It really is. So that's a nice benefit too.
Yeah.
If anyone needed to get a hold of Humana, I've got a number here. I've got 602-760-1700, or go to humana.com/Medicare.
Yep. just call there, and they will help walk you through the process. If you want to just explore or hopefully sign up for one of our Medicare Advantage plans, we would love to have you as a member. Our objective is to make your experience as good as possible and as seamless as possible, to make sure we're covering all the things you need to have covered to live your best life and be as healthy as you can be as you age.
So any lasting thoughts that you would love to share with our listeners as we wind down?
I just want to thank you, Bob, for having me. I am so proud of the work that we do of providing this kind of coverage for people. Frankly, it is a wonderful thing. I think I mentioned off the air that my mom is going to be 89 years old this year.
Awesome.
She is on a Medicare Advantage plan, of course, and is absolutely couldn't be more impressed with the kind of coverage that she has, and that makes me proud. So this is a wonderful opportunity. This annual enrollment period is a time when people should be taking stock of what their needs are and finding the very best value for them going forward.
So on a personal note, as we wind down, you moved from Colorado. You're a Denver Broncos fan. Can we get you to come over to the Arizona Cardinals?
Well, frankly, after last night's performance, I'm starting to think that maybe I should. I try not to be a fair weather fan, though, so I'm going to try to stick with the Broncos for a little bit, but I'll be watching the Cardinals closely. We'll see where we wind up here as we go forward. But funny you should mention that. Thank you.
No worries. I know your allegiance is to the Colorado sports. You got the Avalanche, you got the Rockies, and you've got the Broncos. And, the one great thing about being here, Mark, is that spring training, the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Colorado Rockies, they actually share a spring training facility, and it's a great way to watch baseball. And they play a lot against each other during spring training.
And I can guarantee that we'll be in the stands for those games as well. So yeah,
there you go.
We are looking forward to that, and just very happy to be here in the Phoenix area. We love it here. So thank you.
Well, the hard thing to believe, and I'll leave this, and if you want to give a comment, you're welcome to. The numbers are daunting. What is this what keeps you up at night in terms of figuring out how do we care for so many of our Americans? How do we get them coverage? Because at 11,000 a day, the 80-year-old population doubling, the largest growing demographic being 90 plus.
I do. I think about it often, and I am concerned about it. But I think that we've got a lot of great options, and I frankly think that. Health plans providing Medicare Advantage is a wonderful thing. So,
Mark, thank you for being on the show. Have a great weekend. We'll be back next Friday.
Thank you, Bob.
There's no place like home. You've been listening to Bob Roth's Health Futures. If you have questions about your own or your loved one's future health care, call Cypress HomeCare Solutions at 602-264-8009. That's 602-264-8009. Or visit CypressHomeCare.com. Be sure to join Health Futures with Bob Roth every Friday at noon, right here on Money Radio 1510 and 105.3 FM.
Hi, my name is Ferenc Toth. I'm president and founder of Secure Estate Management and chairman of the board of a community bank in formation. When meeting with advisors regarding your money, have they shared anything new or anything different? Probably not. How would you like to learn about a powerful financial tool used by the wealthy for centuries known as your personal bank? What is your personal bank? Contact me at 866-515-6280 or mypersonalbank.com. Tune in every Tuesday at noon for My Personal Bank radio show on Money Radio.
If you're over 70, you may have a hidden asset you don't even know about. You could sell your unwanted life insurance policy and pay off health care bills or supplement your retirement income. You get a cash payment, often 4 to 7 times more than the cash surrender value, while the purchaser assumes all future premium payments and eventually gets the benefit. This is known as a life settlement, explains the nonprofit Life Insurance Settlement Association. Learn more, including whether you're eligible, at lisa.com.
The station that talks about your money, Money Radio 1510 and 105.3 FM is KFNN Mesa Phoenix.